Right, so today on the podcast you might recognise who I'm with. It's Skatz. Skatz is with me, podcast number 8, and this is a video. Actually, we've been talking about doing this for a while because I've been on a couple of appointments with Skatz on the various journeys on his cancer journey, and we're going to talk about cancer, and it's quite important that we get some information out there about it for people and let people know how it's dealt with here in Spain. And also I wanted to show a little bit behind the scenes story of Skatz, because he had these fantastic weekly updates that he does, which are very comical, which rounds it up in half an hour, but it's not always like that, is it?
No.
No, it's different.
No, the whole situation's not always comical at all, really, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. And I thought, well,
I put a brave face on it. That's why I wear all these fantastically colourful shirts and just trying to keep my spirits up. You know?
Got to keep the spirits up, haven't you? So, okay, well let's chat. So first of all, let's tell everybody where we are and what we're doing right now.
Right. Well, we're in a cafe. We found a secret cafe behind the hospital, Civil.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And even I walked past this the other day and didn't even see it. It mustn't have been open. And I went to the cafe inside, but no, we're right next to a load of palm trees, and it's very quiet.
Yeah.
We were thinking of going out into a cafe right on the street, and that was a bit too noisy, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was. We were like, we're going to get a video, but we're not too sure where. And then suddenly I'll tell you what, I might be able to, because we've got the gimbal to show you around. Check this out. The secret cafe.
Yeah.
Behind the hospital. So there you go. We'll put a link below on how to get here. If you ever have to come to hospital, then you know where to go.
Yeah, it's round the corner.
Yeah.
So, secret. So we've actually just been to the maternity hospital first, because they said go for a blood test first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's part of this new regime. I'm on sort of stage 2. So that's why I've got this thing on my arm. So I think I'm going to take it off now. Live. Let's rip it. Oh, they've done a good job. Look, it's just a tiny spot. She was very good, actually. She must be sitting there all day, like all of the other ones, just going, just take needle in the arm, take the blood, blah, 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 hand the papers back, and that's it. And adios.
So that was a blood test, because today is the start of stage 2, the chemo.
Yes, which is IV, intravenous chemo, where they put it in direct to your blood. So, and that's slightly more serious. The first stage was radiotherapy, so that's where they zap me with what is it? Radio waves. I don't know what they are.
Well, let's go back earlier than that, and let's talk about, because there's a big part before you got that stage. Yeah. You started your video diaries before you knew you had cancer. Because I can remember you saying to me about it and saying that I'm not very well, but it's at that time it wasn't about cancer, it was about just telling people what the healthcare service was like, because it was sort of your biggest first experience, wasn't it? So you were like, right, instead of doing
I was waiting for an appointment.
You're waiting for an appointment
to get a colonoscopy to find out whether there was anything wrong, you know. And
that was when you were like, oh, this would be a good idea, because they'll be getting information about what it's like to use the healthcare service. And then obviously that turned into going for the colonoscopy. How do you say that, 7:30 in the morning?
Colonoscopy, slowly and carefully.
Okay, hang on a minute, I'll say it in a minute.
Yeah, not with coffee. That's what confuses you. I've got orange juice, I'm not used to having so much sugar.
I'll call it a colonscope, that'll do. So you went for
that's the tube.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So you went to have a colonscope, let's call it that. And obviously then, at that point though, so obviously then at that point, they gave you an appointment, which you must have feared the worst then.
Well, actually, it was straight after the colonoscopy when they called Liz, my wife, in, and we had a sit down with the doctor then, actually straight after the colonoscopy.
Okay.
And that's when they said, it looks bad.
Right.
And we still have to check it to see whether it's malignant cancer or not, and we have to check. We're going to have to put you through a load of tests.
Okay.
But yeah, they saw it when they put the tube in. They saw a load of polyps which are little growths, like mushroom growths, in the colon. And they said they'd taken 7 of those out with the camera device tube, which has got little things in that can clip and pull things out. So they'd taken 7 of those out, and they said, but right down at the bottom end in the rectum, they found what they said was a 10 centimetre growth, but it's all on the paperwork as being 9 centimetres now, but that's a big one anyway.
So
it's quite big. So the tube of the rectum and just a little bit of the colon as well that goes into it was cancerous. And
so you got so when that happened, obviously I'm just trying to think of the timeline in my head, so you'd have been on weekly number 4 or 5 by then, I think, wouldn't you, when you were doing it? Probably.
Yeah, I start actually the video diaries I was making one every 2 or 3 days to start with.
Right. Okay.
So by the time I got to, I think by the time I'd been doing that for 2 or 3 weeks, I'd settled down into just doing one a week after that. But so it must have been, I don't know what number video diary it was. So then I actually went for an appointment, I think.
And then from there, we had the appointment where they gave the diagnosis, didn't they? I was with you at that appointment.
Yeah.
But you sort of, it's a weird thing to say, because you can't, I've only ever had to do it twice as a translator and turn around and say to somebody, you have cancer, and it sort of doesn't want to come out. I think, you don't want to say that, but you sort of already knew anyway. You were expecting it. You and
because
Liz
of that first appointment, we'd already, because they'd already said it looks serious.
Yeah.
And they looked at us and said, and there was 2 of them. One of them could speak English and the other one couldn't.
Yeah.
And they just said it looks serious.
So that appointment in Beleth wasn't really a sort of it wasn't a shock to you, it was a confirmation, basically, do you think?
Yeah. Then we'd already kind of not come to terms with it, but we would just, in our heads, we were thinking, yeah, okay, it's cancer, let's take it from there.
Let's go from there.
And then if they say afterwards, then, oh, it's not malignant, then we can go, hey, that's all right, then just cut it out and get rid.
And that was, so that, at that point, that was when you got into the sort of, actually, I'm going to one appointment to tell me this, then you're sort of raring then to crack on with the treatment, and then it becomes, I've got to go and do another consultant, and it gets quite frustrating, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I can remember being frustrated.
Yeah, and they move you from hospital to hospital as well, which in a way is a good thing, because they specialise in the different hospitals. So the first one, Vélez Málaga, that's fairly close to where I live. It's only half an hour away. So that was the local big hospital. But then they said, we're going to send you to Malaga, to a hospital in Malaga. It's not this one, this is the 3rd hospital that we're at now.
Yeah.
What was that one called? University Hospital.
The Civil.
No, this is the Civil.
Oh, was this the Civil, is it?
Yeah. So it was Carlos Hayes.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, which is kind of a university teaching hospital, I think.
Which was, that's the first time I've ever been in that hospital, in the dungeon where they have the radiotherapy and the scary speakers. As you walk into the radiotherapy place, right, I think they do it for effect. They have this speaker above you which goes zzz. Yes. I've got video of it, actually. I'll put it at the end of this one.
They're in the ceiling.
That's scary. But actually, it wasn't that scary when you get in. It was quite nice. The people on reception were nice. A bit frustrating because then you go to a consultant and then they tell you then what you're going to do. Then you've got to come back. You really want to shout at them and say, well, do you know that you've just come down from Competov to be told this? Couldn't have been told it on the phone. But
yeah, because it's an hour and a bit from Competov into Malaga to that hospital. So
and what?
Yeah, there's been several times, hasn't there, when they've said, yeah, right, this is, and it's just a consult. They tell you what's going to happen, and then what's tended to happen all the way along is that something you've been told at one place, then you go to the next place and something is slightly different. Might be maybe the slight difference in the appointment time or a slight difference in the program of what you expect is going to happen with the plan.
Yeah.
It's only minor things, but it just it makes you think.
Cancer conveyor belt with slightly different operators every time you go along it, isn't it?
It is. It's very efficient. Yeah. And that's one thing you notice. This blood test this morning, Chris dropped me off because there was a queue for the car park and didn't think we were going to get there in time. But by the time he'd parked the car and got back, which was 8 minutes.
I looked, it was exactly 8 minutes after your appointment and you were messaging me to say I'll meet you at the hospital.
Yeah. I was done. And I was standing there, putting my bag on, ready to walk across the road to the other hospital, to here.
So talking about going back to the diagnosis, so we had the consultation, which was then, they then gave you basically the plan. Well, the consultation, they said, we will have a plan. We don't know what the plan is yet, but you will
they
get
had two alternatives, didn't they?
They had two alternatives.
Kind of a simpler one and a more complicated and thorough one.
And they said, we've got to go back to the doctors. The doctors have a meeting every Thursday. They then decide what they're going to do with you. We're going to give you a call. At that point then, you knew. So you had the call. You went into the 5-week, every day in the hospital, radiotherapy, chemo tablets.
Yeah.
At that point, it's not only the fact that you're going to start your chemo treatment, because you're not thinking about the stage you're at now, just starting about that.
Yeah.
Then you've got to think about home and work life, because you're both self-employed.
Yeah.
Right, so
I couldn't book any gigs.
So you couldn't book
not
any
knowing
gigs.
how I was going to feel, and knowing that I was feeling tired in the first stage.
Yeah.
So I just said, I said to all of the people that booked me for gigs that can't guarantee anything. So they all basically wiped me off their calendars, and so there's a lot of work that I would have had this year, because I've been building up my status as an artiste. That's a bit, I'm playing in cafes and bars, but it's still you build up this reputation for what you do. And I'm very, very lively on stage as well. I dance around a lot and I sing ska songs, and so I'm known as being the very lively entertainer that gets the audience going, and loads more people were booking me. So this would have been a brilliant year.
Yeah. So that's it. Big loss of income, and then you can't. Because I was talking to Lara about it. I said, God, can you imagine if God forbid something we had to organise ourselves like this? I was going, how would you do it? Because they do offer, as a self-employed person, I think you can get a payment, can't you?
Yeah, it's a small payment, 600 or 700 a month. At this stage I've been paying in for a couple of years, so
I think mine might be a little bit more, but
probably,
how do you turn off the tap? Because you can't turn off your videos, because that's this is there's not.
I had a big discussion with Antonio about it, about whether this was what do you call it, passive income.
Yeah.
The videos that I've already made, then I'm not making them anymore, but there's still a tiny trickling amount. But he was suggesting that I stopped any payments coming through, so that there was no explanation needed.
Oh right, yeah.
So, and you can't do that. You can't do that with Google, YouTube
ads. No, you can't. They just pay you when you get to your minimum, and that's
because
it.
you've got kind of a contract, and the adverts are still being played on. Although it's very little, it's tiny little amounts, but
because you're not making chairs. That's sort of
no,
like
no product.
the example. There's no product, is there? So you can't say today I'm going to not make chairs, not sell chairs, get €800. And when you work in like the service industry, or working on things like YouTube, like you as an entertainer, you can't. If you turn it off, you lose the traction, because you don't just stop losing your income. You lose the traction further down the line, don't you? As well.
Yeah, if I don't do a live video on a Saturday, I've got this. There's the pressure on me to do it, to always do that, because if you lose even the regular followers.
Yeah. So
if you don't do one, miss 1 week.
Yeah, people especially will expect it. It's different, because our channel is different. If I don't do something, then I like to do my weekly updates, but sometimes I publish them late on a Sunday because our internet's naff. So I get all ready to go, and then it'll be like, the internet's gone down. Okay, brilliant, at home. I'm not going to go to the office and do it on a Sunday, but that's not too much of a problem. But I don't have set live times, so it's
you've not got to the stage where you're deliberately saying it's definitely going to be at this time every week, which you have to do with what I'm doing, because people expect it.
And you're having different guests on and stuff, whereas I can pretty much say I change my weekly updates to Sundays, just because it was easier for me to put together and get out there. But hey, even if it crept into Monday morning, no one's going to be going, hang on, it's 6 o'clock on a Sunday, come on Chris. Whereas if you say, I've got a live every Saturday, we've got a guest on, and people are moving to Spain and following you, they want to see that, don't they?
They do, yeah.
So, that's got to be taken into account. Plus, obviously, on the Fridays when you're putting out your video diaries.
Yeah, the diary, which has gone from being a diary about my life and the health service to chemo diary.
Well, let's carry on with the chemo diary. Right, it's a chemo diary. And as professional as we are, and I have to stop the camera every now and again because my software doesn't allow me to, I don't know, I'm not very good at editing it.
He's not the technical one.
Canva, and then if it goes over a certain size of video, then I've got to reduce the size of the video, and anyway, it's cool just to keep it to 14 minutes.
Yeah. So chemo.
So anyway, let's get into so we're going down. So you're going down to the I used to call it the TARDIS, that blue door. I only had the pleasure of going through it once with you the first time because it's like this corridor, and it's easy for me because I'm not the one getting the treatment. So you're sat there, and there's me saying to you, oh, it looks like a TARDIS, scary speakers, because at the same time I don't really know what's going through your head. Don't really know what to say when your mate's going to go into chemo. So my default is let's make a joke. Look at the TARDIS door, and
which is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. And it was painted like a TARDIS door, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
So it was like, and they give you like these robes, and it's like when they gave you those robes, it was like, it was quite funny. You're going straight in for your first radio session. You don't really know what to expect. You're scared of moving, you're scared of farting because you think that you're going to move it because they're saying, oh, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. Yeah,
because it's radiotherapy and they take a scan and you've got to stay absolutely still because they're firing radiation at you and they don't want to hit your bollocks or anywhere else. They don't want to, because you could end up with cancers elsewhere if you hit with radiation. So they have to aim it directly at the tumour.
So what's going through your head at the point that I'm going? I mean, when you got there, you got that.
I'm thinking I don't want to fart because at that point when I was farting, I couldn't fart. I couldn't previously. I can now, fortunately, but at that point I had diarrhoea and I had to sit down to pee as well,
right? Because
usually something would come out. And so, and it's been like that for a year or two. That's why I started making the appointments in the first place. So that's been an ongoing thing and getting more and more serious as I went along. So that's what was going through my head at the time.
A very important point to make for people who are anybody in the world who's going through that or notices anything different. That was your trigger to go right to the beginning and say, hang on a minute, there's just something off with the way I'm going for a pee, the way I'm going for a poo, there's just something slightly off.
Yeah, and there's blood in the poo as well. That's the big thing.
You beat yourself up quite a bit for not being insistent about going for I can remember right at the beginning, and let's be honest.
And Liz too, because she said, you've had blood in your poo. I should have pushed you for, and spoke to the doctor and pushed you through for a quicker appointment. But it took 11 months from the point when the doctor said, we'll put you through for a colonoscopy. It took 11 months before I had the colonoscopy.
Right.
And that was because my blood tests came through with no cancer markers. So the doctor said, it's okay, it's not cancer. Which is not the right thing to say, I don't think. I think that was a mistake because that's not 100% accurate, as has been proved. I'm sure I'm not the first person or if I am, then maybe they need to investigate that. Did they get the test wrong?
So the moral of the story is just keep knocking at the door and do it, know. And I had our experience with Lara had an operation a couple of years ago, which turned out to be a lot bigger than what we thought it was going to be. But she had to, a couple of times, just plonk herself in emergencies until she got someone to push her through to the right thing, and then the operation got pushed through. Well, I think she would have been waiting another year. So not knocking the healthcare service here, because I think it's very, very, very good. But if you don't be, and I'd be exactly the same as you. Yeah. So I'm one of these ones that's quite...
I don't know if it's a man thing, but we always go, it'll be all right.
I'm the one that's like, in my job, I'm like, every day it's like bang, 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 this is what we need to do, and then the moment I get to the weekend going out for a meal, and Lara will be like looking at the bill going, well, they shouldn't have added it, and I'll be like, just leave it, Lara, just leave it, type thing, and she'd be the one that gets up and goes, actually, can you take this bread off because we didn't have that second basket, and getting the €10 off the bill, and I can remember we went into Malaga, and she really wasn't happy with the food. This place we'd be dying to go, and I was like, we just pay, we won't come back. And Lara's going, no, I'm getting a discount. That's just the way it is. Go to the manager, I'm going to get a discount. So I can't do that, and I'd be the same medically, So I go to the doctor, and the doctor says, are you all right? I go, thank you, and walk off. And maybe sometimes we shouldn't be like that. We just got to go and say.
I think we both learned to be a bit more insistent.
Yeah.
Since that, I definitely have.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
still, I think if Liz had been at the last appointment, at the last consult, I think she would have asked for even more information. She'd have dug even deeper than we were doing at the time.
Yeah.
I think we were both feeling under the weather at the time as well. I don't think we asked all of the right questions, because I've got questions that I'm going to ask today. I've got them all written down, and some of those I should have asked the last time.
Yeah.
Because this time, the plan, when we were told the plans originally, those two plans that eventually they decided on the more complicated one, which was chemo and radiotherapy together for stage 1, and then IV chemo at stage 2. But they didn't say there's going to be IV chemo and tablets. They just said it was IV chemo. But now, further down the line, the last appointment, and that was at this hospital a couple of weeks ago, they said it's going to be IV chemo, and then next week I've got to come back and have tablets. Does that mean me driving all the way down here? Do I have to have a blood test before I take the tablets next week?
I think
Is it just for me to come down and take the tablets?
And said, do I have to drive down here for tablets? And she went, don't know yet.
All right.
Yeah.
So yes, we don't know. Maybe after I've had the IV today, or maybe after this consult that's going to be in an hour's time, we'll find out. They'll just give me a packet of tablets, and
I'm hoping that
that would be sensible.
If you look at the last way, so the last time they did it, it was a consult. They then went off to the doctors. They then gave you a plan. Mm-hmm. So maybe the last time we went, when we were at stage 2, now getting the IV chemo, it was the consult with the doctor. Then they've gone off. Mm-hmm. You've got your blood test, and hopefully today they come with a plan.
Yeah,
that would be it, wouldn't it? Let's hope. We'll find out. We'll let you know.
Well, originally the first one, there was Anna, was the doctor at the other one.
She
the
spoke
oncologist.
Fantastic English, I have to say.
She did. She was brilliant.
And the guy.
But what she was saying, it was that the whole plan was going to be decided by the oncologist team and the surgeon, which struck me. And the surgeon is right at the very end of the line. That's stage 3. That's the operation to cut out the tumour. That's the whole stage 1 and stage 2 is to shrink the tumour, and then stage 3 is the operation where they cut it out either side. They've got to make margins either side, so they've got to shrink it down so that they've got margins of safety, because they leave a centimetre of good clean colon, good clean rectum, and cut it there, and then they cut it a centimetre either side. They take that bit out, and then they sew these two bits back together again. That's the final stage.
You get a shorter colon.
Yeah, I'll just end up having very little rectum, and it's all just colon.
Hence why they have to shrink it then.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't shrink it,
they don't want to cut too much out.
Right. Okay.
Because if they cut too much out as well, they may as well just bypass it, and then I'd end up having a stoma bag, which is where you don't poo out your backside anymore. All goes into a bag. If they have to cut too much out.
Right. Okay.
And I've known that happen to a lot of people. When either because the tumour's too big, or because it's the second time they've had to go through the treatment and they can't have as much chemo and as much radiotherapy the next time down the line. So I think that's why they're hitting it really hard this time, because they want to make sure it doesn't happen again. And also the chemo can... the other thing they said right at the beginning was they don't know if it's gone into my... I can't remember the name of it now. There's another system that they're checking whether it's been affected by the cancer as well.
Okay. So
and the chemo tablets and the IV chemo will hopefully stop any of that if there is any problem there. I can't remember the name of it anyway.
There's to stop growth and also reduce it so they can operate, basically.
Yeah, and stop it being anywhere else in the body at the same time.
And a lot of so this system we're going into now, I keep calling it stage 2. That is a lot of that is play it by ear, because they don't know how you're going to react, do they? So that's the kind of gist that I got. So you have your blood test, so you know where you're going for your 40-second blood test or 8-minute blood test. That was crazy. So you got that system nailed down now. The car park, I guarantee if you're coming to Malaga and it says half an hour on Google Maps, give yourself an hour and 15 minutes, I can tell you that. This time in the morning. Though we hit the car park bang on the time we were supposed to be there, I then went to turn in and the guy told me to bugger off He said, have you gotten the bond? I was like, no. He went, right round the corner then. So we hit a queue, so you had to get out like it was in the middle of the road, run across.
Yeah. Fortunately, we were right opposite the maternity hospital in the queue anyway, so
yeah, so
I didn't have far to go.
So that's good. We can do that. But then, when we were at the consultation, she sort of basically said, "We'll see how you react to then tell you what happens," which is actually a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to work out getting lifts down and stuff like that. Because obviously you've got a network of people who are trying to help, like even coming down yesterday to us, it's sort of like you have to get early, and it's that not knowing that is a bit of a pain, I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been really, really helpful, and because being able to stay overnight within half an hour of the hospital instead of, if I'd had to drive down with I'd have probably had to get up at 5 o'clock and set off at 6:15 just to make sure I got in and parked up in enough time to get the blood test done at 8:10.
And now you've got to organise 2 lists, because today is going to be 3 or 4 hours of IV chemo.
Yeah.
So you've got to get somebody to bring you down, and then somebody to pick you up.
Yeah.
So unless someone's coming to Malaga for anything and can hang about.
Yeah. So and that's fortunately it's Liz today, so she wanted to be there at the first one. Yeah. And she's more or less free today.
Yeah. Are you even allowed to sit in the sun?
Not supposed to. No, maybe I should put the hat on. Okay. We're getting whited out here, aren't we?
Here we go.
The sun's come out.
Move round.
Here we go.
There we go. This is that's better. Put your hat on.
Do you need to pause it and start again?
No, I think we'll just carry on.
Have you got to 15 minutes?
We've got to 15 minutes yet. So okay, so we've got to that point. And now really just the hardest sort of question of all is like, how are you in yourself? How do you feel? How do you cope with? Because you got something I wanted to. It's one of those things, isn't it? And your video diaries are great, but that just shows happy Skatz on cracking on with it.
Yeah. And it shows the fighting Skatz.
The fighting Skatz.
And I write it as a script. This is an important thing to know. I'm not always this upbeat and as upbeat as I am on my video diaries, because I'm actually using a script that I've taken a lot of time to write, even through the tiredness that I've got. And so it always looks like I'm really upbeat, and I play the character of just bashed the microphone. I play the character of Freddy the Tumour as well, so he's got to be quite vicious and full of energy, but it does take it out of me doing that.
Yeah, because you've got to. Does it help you to sort of cope with like the going through the treatment and stuff?
Oh yeah,
doing the video diaries. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, having something to fight against is
as much psychological, isn't it? As
yeah, that's what a good friend of mine said to me. He says it's the battle is all up here.
Right.
That's really important to realise.
Yeah.
And it's, I think by putting it online, by making videos about it, it's not only makes me feel stronger about it, actually talking about it. I get responses from people as well. I get comments of people who tell me their stories of how they've gone through this and they've recovered from it, and that gives me strength as well. So, I mean, right now, today, I feel fairly healthy because I'm at the end of a waiting period, really.
It's almost like I want to crack on with this now. Because,
I want to get on the machine, put that thing in my arm, even though it's 3 really toxic chemicals, and one of which is a heavy metal. I think it's platinum that is in this particular cocktail of drugs that I'm going to be given. And the way it works is it's I have it once every 3 weeks because it's that strong. It takes your body that long the rest of your body that long to recover. Your immune system is taken down quite quickly by these chemicals. Your white blood cells get wiped out. So that's why there's got to be a gap in between each treatment, and each treatment is, I think there's 6 of them, 6 rounds or 6 cycles, that's what they call it.
Well, that's it. Let's have a chat about what actually is going to happen in the treatment, shall we?
Yeah.
So the treatment, so you're psychologically you're prepared for it as best as you can be. As you say, a lot of the battle's in the mind as well, keeping yourself sort of on track, happy. I mean, just going back to what you were saying there about having other people sharing their story, we've had it as well, because we've obviously got a lot of followers on YouTube in common. I've got clients who come through YouTooSpain with us, and I have to say, you know, the messages that we've got for you, you know, have been amazing, and it's all been positive stories. You know, people saying, look, if you got one of the clients, Mike, sent me a message saying, if you're a mate, as a mate in handling with another mate, if he's got cancer, this is the kind of things you can expect, and then you've got like this is so all these lovely messages of encouragement coming through, and all the success stories, you know, of, look, I've been through it, it's going to be okay. I mean, that's really like that must be so, you know, nice to read, you know.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, just the first time I put up I think the video when I got the diagnosis was, yes, I've got cancer. That was the biggest response I got, and that was I had the most watches for that video as well, and because it was the most emotive as well. And I nearly broke down the week after recording the next video because of the response from it. And that's so important.
No, it's good. I think that's amazing, and so keep them coming. That's one thing, keep them coming, because it's also going to help anybody who may be going through having cancer, coming out the other end, watching videos on YouTube on how to cope with it. You know, that kind of encouragement. You know, people, not everybody wants to be on YouTube and talk like we are, but even reading it might help people. You know, so that's
I've had quite a few people who've said, I'm going to go for a test because I've had some pain down there or somewhere else, you know, and I'm just thinking, or I've had some blood in my feces. Then I'd say go for tests immediately, go to the doctor and insist that you get a colonoscopy. They've even started now. I got a text through from the health service saying we're going to start testing people from 40 to 55 years old. You're going to start getting regular tests now if you want them.
Excuse the pun, but be a pain in the arse.
Be a pain in the arse, because this is a pain in the arse. And it's a bigger pain in the arse than you think it's going to be. Although, people think of cancer and they usually think of possibly death. But even if it's not, even if that's not the outcome, it's still a pain in the arse, and it takes you out for a year or more of your life, and it's the psychological struggle and the pain, because there's been pain all the way through this, and I've just coped with it. You know, it's chronic pain, which means it's happening most of the time. Not necessarily been all that bad. It's always there. I can feel it there. I'm having to wear really loose clothes, and I'm wearing, it's all polyester clothing as well, so that the sun the UV can't get through it as well, and that's becoming a lot hotter, especially down here on the coast where it's more humid.
Because that was a big thing they said was, when you're in the treatment, you've got to keep out the sun. So great. I live in Malaga province. 320 days sun a year, you know. So
that's tricky. That's why I've got this special hat which is really UV protective, and polyester apparently is really good for that, but it's not the best for being sweaty. No, it's not. Can't wear my shorts anymore.
So anyway, let's talk about now, just wrapping up with what you expect to happen. So we don't really know what's happening now, but we do, but we don't. So it's basically what's going to happen is they've taken your test, they're going to look at it this morning, see, I think what I got the gist of it was that they check your bloods to see if you're healthy enough to actually have the chemo. And that includes the white blood cell count, which you were talking about, which yours was at 4,000 something, which was just about there.
4,000 is the minimum.
To have it, and then they'll give you the chemo, and then you'll be told to come back on one day, then they'll do another blood test. But if you have that blood test and they see you're not healthy enough, there's a chance they could tell you to bugger off for another week.
I'd just have to go home today. I'll have to phone Liz up and say, come immediately instead of waiting a few hours and coming this afternoon.
Right, okay, so that's where we are, and that's it. I mean, it's well, we just wanted to. We've been talking about doing this video for a while, just not being a video diary, because I think this is the first time you might have spoken about it in this kind of way out there.
We didn't know whether to wait until I was looking really, really awful, because there's a good chance that in 24 hours, 48 hours, I'm going to look absolutely awful. I'll be, pale, no energy, not able to get out of bed, possibly feeling very sick. I don't know.
I think you might have told me to bugger off. And I said to do a video. You go, can we do a video now, Skatz?
Yeah. We were going to do it last night, weren't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But no, we were just looking too happy.
Yeah, far too happy.
And we'd had a wine or two.
I think it was. I think also it was nice just to maybe not think about it last night too much and just get yourself. We'll think about it in the morning, but have a chat, have some fun, and. Which was nice. It was nice to be.
Oh, it was lovely,
socially, and just have and get up this morning and attack it how it needs to be attacked with the right positive mental attitude, and go from there.
And we fed the white blood cells last night by having steak.
We did, yes. We had nice steak and cooked over
solomillo,
cooked over wood. So that was nice, wasn't it? And. So anyway, guys, right, look, so if you want to support Skatz, because obviously we haven't spoken too much about it, but Skatz can't work at the moment. Liz is doing everything she can to sort of support the cause, absolutely knackered because she's working more to try and compensate what's going on. I've got check this QR code out here above Skatz's head, and you can donate there to, is it Just Giving, isn't it? GoFundMe, that's it. GoFundMe page, which is just going to help Skatz to keep his channel online. Let's see how you feel with it. You shouldn't feel too much pressure to get it out there. Do you know what I mean? That's the one thing. I know that everybody's going to follow you anyway, we don't really know how you're going to react to this chemo. But if your body really, you did so well in the last bout of chemo.
I still felt okay.
You're okay, and there's a lot of tiredness. But compared to some of the people that were there with you,
there's people who lost their hair and everything there.
Yeah, you've done really well there. So I'm sure this is going to go the same. And just keep following Skatz's channel, just keep supporting the channel. And if anybody you know is going through the same, just make sure they watch the channel so they've got some sort of support. And that's it really. So just thanks for coming on and being honest about your journey.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Thanks for asking me.
Maybe we'll have an end of treatment.
End of life.
End of life. We'll have an end of treatment video as well.
End of Freddy. That's
we're going to do an end of Freddy. So hashtag
Freddy's the tumour, by the way. I don't know. Have we mentioned that?
Yes. Yeah. I believe I coined the hashtag.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you? FOF.
FOF. Yeah.
Feck off, Freddy.
So we're gonna get rid of Freddy, and thanks for watching. Thanks for Skatz, and we will continue to give you updates on what's going on with him.
Brilliant.